Welcome to the Everyday Comfort Podcast, where we help homeowners make smart decisions and save money, and guide contractors on building trust, growing their business, and delivering real value. Let's dive into the show.
Hi, I'm Anthony Mount, your host of Everyday Comfort, the podcast built to serve both homeowners and home service contractors. Whether you're a contractor looking to grow your business or a homeowner hoping to avoid costly surprises, we dive into real stories, practical tips, smart strategies to help you succeed and stay comfortable every day. This episode is brought to you by Trust One, your reliable plumbing and HVAC contractor in Quincy, Massachusetts. Our goal is to provide premier customer service that instills customers with trust, confidence, and a unique experience. Trust One strives to be the most recommended heating, cooling, and plumbing company in the South Shore. To learn more about us and get in touch, visit trustoneservices.com. Today, I have Chad Franzen here of Rise 25, who's been doing thousands of interviews with successful entrepreneurs and CEOs. We have flipped the script, and he will be interviewing me. Chad, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks so much, Anthony. Great to be here. I always love doing these with you. I always learn something. I feel like anybody who lives somewhere can benefit from listening to one of these. So I'm looking forward to talking to you today about heating systems, something that's especially valuable for people who live in places where there's winter. So tell me, there's heating repair, there's heating maintenance, and there's heating installation. What are some main differences between those things? I think installation is kind of self-explanatory, but maybe you can go into it a little bit deeper.
Yeah, so from our perspective, right, the customer might have a different perspective on this, but from our perspective, a heating repair is something is broken, it's not working. Maintenance is, hey, we need to do maintenance on the system. We need to clean it up. We need to check all the safeties. We need to make sure it's operating correctly. But mainly it is working. And then heating installation is obviously someone needs a heating system. But one common thing that happens is a lot of customers may know they have an issue and they're like, yeah, maintenance might take care of it, right? So it's like, because we always relate these things to cars. They're like, oh yeah, oil change. I just need an oil change and I'm good. It's one of those things that, well, hey, maybe a maintenance will take care of it, and sometimes it might. But we get a lot of calls. We're like, yeah, I just need maintenance, and we go out there and there's an issue, and we're like, hey, do you know this thing's broken? And they're like, no, but they might.
So I'm guessing people would want to elect to have heating maintenance when there's no issue that they can tell. Chances are, if I can sense there's an issue, it probably needs a repair. But maintenance maybe could prevent repairs moving down the road, but you have to ask for it prior to something being noticeable.
Yeah, maintenance could definitely help solve those before they become big repairs, or at least prevent it from breaking down when it comes to that time where it's actually going to break on you, which is usually at the worst time in the middle of a snowstorm or in the middle of a heat wave.
So let's say you're getting heating installation, you have to pick out a furnace. Are there some common mistakes that homeowners make when selecting a furnace?
Yeah, so this is one thing that I included in my book. It's really the most important thing is the person who installs the furnace. Generally, a lot of the furnaces are made all in the same place, with minor tweaks. They literally come down an assembly line, and one goes left and one goes right, and whatever way they go is what sticker gets put on it. So a lot of these main manufacturers own a bunch of all the other small manufacturers that you may know to this day, kind of like GMC and Chevy. So it's really like, hey, one's more high end. You're going to pay for the name. You may get leather seats over cloth seats. That's really the main difference.
So should you take the name under consideration or not give it that much value, or what would you say?
I would give more value to the contractor installing it. I mean, I won't say that they're not good products. There's definitely manufacturers that do a good job. Like Medea makes a lot of the manufacturers, and because they're the biggest manufacturer in the world. They make a lot of good products, which have different names on them. So yeah, I'd put a little bit of weight on that. I wouldn't put in something that we've never heard of and it's never been tested before. But I would put more weight on the person that you're choosing, their reputation, their warranties, their guarantees, and what they're willing to offer you.
So, let's say my furnace is pretty old. It tends to be a little bit clunky. It works, but constantly needs repairs. How do you guys at Trust One maybe determine whether repair is necessary or I should just go ahead and replace it? And how do you determine how it makes which makes more financial sense?
Uh, Two things we really look at. The age. Is it out of warranty period?
Hmm.
Usually when it's past its warranty period, then things are designed to fail. It's kind of like anything once it's out of the warranty period. You're like, oh, it's really time. But yeah, and then when you start putting a ton of money in things, when you start to put, you're like, hey, I have to put $2,000 into a furnace that's 10 years old. Then I'm like, is it really worth that amount? Is this going to keep happening? But maybe that one-time repair is good, but if you have to continuously keep putting money into it, it doesn't make sense anymore.
Can you predict often if I'm going to be back here in 6 months?
We're fully transparent, Chad. I mean, we tell the customers, we're not pushing a replacement on every single customer. We're definitely willing to fix anything that they want us to. But
Hmm.
we're very transparent. Hey, here's your repair options, but do want to let you know we're past the warranty period here. You're probably going to end up putting more money into it than you want to. So, and then high utility bills are also another factor. If you start seeing high utility bills, your electric bill or gas bill continue to skyrocket, not just because of the utilities, but because of the appliance that you have, that's another sign. And then like it doesn't work as well. When you notice that your heating or cooling doesn't work as well, that's another sign.
So we talked about furnace maintenance being maybe kind of a proactive elective type thing.
Yeah.
What qualifies as furnace maintenance, and how often should it take place?
So every year is definitely a rule of thumb. You want to do every year, probably two visits. Our membership includes two visits, a heating and a cooling tune-up. There's different parts depending on the type of system you have. Because if you have a furnace with AC, there's two different pieces. One does your compressor outside, and then one has your furnace inside. So those are it all really depends on the type of system. If you have a heat pump, you could probably get away with one.
Hmm.
So I would do it every single year.
And then when it's necessary to replace it, is it necessary to inspect or replace the outdoor coil and or unit?
Yeah, so when you have an old furnace and then you have a new furnace with an old AC on top, like we give customers options. We're like, hey, we would hate to go ahead and replace your AC system, and then your furnace is old, and then a motor goes bad on the furnace, and then your AC doesn't work, and you're like, you just installed our AC, why isn't it working? And then we're like, well, your furnace motor went bad, so that's why. So we always give the customer an option. We'll give you a full replacement for the AC and the heating because we're like, hey, it's the same age, it's probably gonna fail soon. So we give both options. We'll let the customer pick whatever they want to do. Sometimes it's budget. Sometimes it's not in the budget for them, and I
Mhm.
totally understand that as well. So it really all depends. Um, but
So
yeah,
some people have furnace systems, and then some people have boilers. I've never really lived anywhere where there's a boiler. Maybe what are some pros and cons of boilers versus furnace systems?
yeah, I'm actually a big fan of boilers. I personally think they heat better.
Hmm.
Like we have steam out here. I don't know if you've ever had a steam system or seen one.
No.
Uh, but we have a lot of steam here in Massachusetts,
Mhm.
and I remember as a kid, I'd go outside and I'd play in the snow. And I used to like put my back up against the radiator and I'd be like, wow, no, I'm nice and toasty after like 5 minutes.
Hmm.
You don't get that from a gas furnace.
Hmm.
From radiators and baseboard, they hold the heat and they heat up fast and the heat lasts longer versus when you have a furnace, it's just, it takes a while and it's got to run consistently. And then when you turn it off, the heat's kind of dissipates quickly. I know areas don't have, room for boilers or they don't have boilers, but I'm a big fan of boilers. I think the heat's better.
And you like baseboards better than furnace style heating?
Yeah, I mean, you don't have AC. If it was my ideal home, I would do ductless for the AC and then do like baseboard or radiators for the heat. That's
Hmm.
just my personal preference. I wouldn't. It's probably not the most energy efficient system out there, but that's my big fan, like my big favorite.
I'll have to tell my wife that she hates baseboard. She like we won't like if we're looking at a house, she won't consider the house if it's got baseboard. But you as
Why?
a probably just aesthetics.
Oh, okay.
Like the little vent looks better than the little baseboard thing. But I've never been opposed to it, but I'm going to tell her that a heating professional recommends baseboards.
Yeah, and another thing too is when you go to clean your house,
Hmm.
baseboards don't require much maintenance. If like you walk by and you kick something into the duct, you gotta like clean that duct out. With baseboards, you're like, yeah, I mean, dirt and dust
Yeah,
can get
dust.
under them, but you can clean that off quick. The maintenance is ductwork. You got to clean out the ductwork and stuff.
Huh.
So,
That's good to know. Okay, so heating pump systems are growing. What is maybe a common myth that customers believe about them?
yeah. So Massachusetts is making a huge push on all electric heating and heat pumps. They do have their place. My recommendation is smaller homes with perfect ductwork. If you're doing a ducted heat pump system, having great ductwork and it being sized correctly, because it has to be sized bigger for heat pumps just to handle the demand. They work well, but a misconception that we get a lot is, oh, my energy bills will be fine. We always warn customers, hey, you're gonna have a higher electric bill for like in the heating season, definitely. Because obviously you might not have had electric heating in the winter time before, but we've seen electric bills up to $1,000 a month, really.
Oh, oh.
So we've seen that happen, and we've also seen the alternative with a smaller house, having a lower electric bill, but they have their place. I don't think they're bad. I'm just not. We like to caution customers about electric bills and definitely the components when they have to be replaced can be more expensive as well. So.
In what ways would you say heat pump feels different than traditional fossil fuel heating, and why does it feel different?
Yeah, so I mean, if you think about, we actually had one customer say that this is a toaster oven.
Mm,
They equated the heat pump to a toaster oven, and I was like, it's kind of actually a good point because you're heating through refrigerant, and then when you don't have the refrigerant running, you have a little heat strip, and it does look like a toaster oven on the
hmm.
inside of it. Um, but yeah, there's different. There's things called defrost mode. So what happens is when the heat pump gets to a certain temperature, it'll shut the compressor off and it'll go into defrost mode, and then the strip heater kicks on. And if you don't have a strip heater, then it feels like it's blowing cold air. But yeah, gas, I mean, you have continuous running, like you have a flame, so it's gonna feel hotter than a heat pump does. And you're gonna heat up quicker. It's definitely gonna heat up quicker, and it's gonna be hotter air coming out
Hmm.
than a
Wh-
traditional heat pump system.
Tell me some benefits that maybe a high efficiency heating system brings beyond manufacturer specifications.
Hmm. Uh, I mean, utility bills obviously is one. Um, I don't know. It really depends on the customer. I mean, they can be quieter too. The high efficient systems are definitely quieter outside. They
Hmm.
can be quieter inside. Um, they're supposed to run. You want them to run for longer periods of time. They definitely require more maintenance than a regular non-high efficient system. So that's what I would say about that.
So you are a proponent of the boiler style heating. How should a homeowner evaluate what's right for them in terms of a high efficiency boiler or a furnace?
Kind of go based off of what they have, really. I mean, customers they live in the homes, they know what they like and what they don't like. A lot of customers have lived in different places, so they have different types of heating systems. Um, because it's really a big investment if you want to switch over to something like if someone doesn't have a boiler, to add a boiler, you're gonna have to run baseboards throughout the house. It's definitely a bigger investment. So we traditionally try to keep with the same type of heating or cooling system they have, and then try to make things more comfortable if there are heating concerns. Like, hey, one room doesn't work well, or it doesn't work in the cooling season. So we try to, pinpoint those pain points and then make sure we correct those so that heating system that they have works even better for them. But generally, what they have is kind of what we replace it with, unless someone's going to like a full heat pump system, then we have to make, the renovations and do all the work to make that happen.
I could see like when we need a new furnace, I could see my wife and I deciding to like let's get three quotes. We'll check it out, we'll shop around and get 3 quotes and then go from there. Why might that not be the best approach?
Yeah, it's I always learned that, back in the day, you look at A company, B company, and C company, everyone was around the same price. Everyone was around the same size. So you might have one company that has 5 people, another has 5 people, and another one has 5 people. So they would all be similar. But nowadays it's so drastic. I think it's most important for a customer to talk to their friends who've used someone and gotten a referral for that. Hey, I've had a good experience with this person. I've been through the process. That's, I think, the best way for them to find a contractor to use. And then look at reviews and reputation. Ask for referrals. Like, hey, if you're going to choose a provider, hey, can you give me 3 customers that have used you and done this type of work that are happy with you? That's what's one real testament than to have customers really telling you what their feedback was and giving you that honest feedback. Getting the 3 quotes, it's very hard to determine who's really. I mean, you're gonna get prices all over the place. You're gonna get people offering different things, different solutions. A lot of customers get analysis paralysis. They just get overloaded with information, and they're like, I'm just confused. Let me just pick this one, and then they might pick the wrong solution. So, analysis paralysis is a real thing. We do see a lot of customers they might go with the lowest quote. They're like, yeah, whatever, it's just a heating system. And then, like, we had a customer this week that had a system that was installed properly. They went with like the lowest quote. We actually have to redo the entire system.
Oh,
Like the compressor failed. Like it happens all the time, unfortunately. And people just really have to do their due diligence and ask for referrals from the company and their friends and stuff. So I wouldn't rely on just going with like getting the 3 quotes.
so we talked about repair versus replacement type of thing. Often, finances could be the driving force behind not deciding to go with replacement. But at
Yep.
what point is it just like a waste of money to continue repairing a furnace that should be replaced? Probably.
Anything over 15 years old, honestly, that's 10 to 15 years, depending on I mean, boilers, if you have an 80% low efficient boiler that goes into the chimney, yeah, you can get 20, 25 years out of that system, no problem.
Hmm.
But a furnace, I mean, you're looking at 10 to 15, other systems, you're looking at 10 to 15. But yeah, once you get over that span, it just, sometimes you can't even get parts for this stuff. So you're like, if you have a compressor fail on an R22 air conditioning system, it's good luck getting a new one. And
Hmm.
then the refrigerant's phased out, so you have to buy this really expensive refrigerant. And we're legally not supposed to fill up a system if we know it's low on refrigerant as well. So I'd say, when it gets to not being able to get parts for it, or if you're making consistent repairs on it, or it's past that 10 to 15 year mark, it's really just time. It's this gives you a good time frame to be able to budget for it, to be able to like save up for that time. So.
Last question for you. I know Trust One has some quality standards for furnace installation. What are some of the top ones?
The number one thing that most wouldn't think of is sizing, making sure that the system is sized properly. We do a load calculation on every single job that we go to make sure that the furnace that we put in is the correct size furnace. Because like we'll look through, like back in the day, they used to look through the doorway and they're like, I can fit that furnace through the door. They'd go across the street and they'd hold their hands up and they'd go, okay, I can fit the furnace through the door. That's the one they're getting. And and then they fail prematurely, and then their utility bills are really high, and then it just causes comfort issues. The thing's shutting off, running all the time, So
Huh.
sizing the system correctly is one of the most important things when it comes to that. And then protecting your home, making sure we protect all the floors. We leave your home just as clean as when we got there, if not cleaner, and just taking care of you and your home.
Yeah,
And
very
then
nice.
and then following the manufacturer's specifications. If the furnace manufacturer says, "Hey, do it this way," you got to do it that way, and your team has to be trained on how to do that.
Okay, awesome. Hey, Anthony, thanks so much for your time today. This is very interesting and informative. Really appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you, Chad.
So long, everybody.
Thanks for listening to the Everyday Comfort Podcast. We'll see you again next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.